Another alleged contradiction of Jesus being a God-man. And that's because they say our definition of God is omnipotent, a spiritual being. Our definition of man is a finite physical being. Those two don't comport with each other. So how can you possibly talk about having a God-man? If God doesn't change, which is what the theologians say, God doesn't change, then what happened at Christmas? Didn't God change by becoming a man? The fallacy in this case I'll call equivocation. Equivocation refers to when we use a word that has two different meanings and we're not clear about what it is. And sometimes we use one meaning and other times we use another one. So we're not talking about a hybrid when we're talking about God-man. But what happened in the incarnation is that the divine person added something to his nature. So he didn't change, but something got added to the divine nature of the Son, and that is a human nature and a human body. So that's the best we can do to describe it. What that actually looks like was, over the first couple of centuries, a lot of scholars tried to actually finally describe what that entailed. And many of them fell off the edge into heresy. Keeping that tension of realizing that the New Testament describes a God-man that has full divine nature and a full human nature. That's what we stick with. And when you're reading through the Gospels and you see sometimes Jesus is acting like a human being. When he gets hungry, when he gets tired and falls asleep, when he says, I don't know what the answer is to this question, which he does. That's his human nature. Alternatively, there are times when he's doing things that are divine, like the paralytic that was let down through the roof. He said, your sins are forgiven. Everyone was objecting to that, the religious people that were sitting around. Only God can do that. Who does this guy think he is? Jesus said, which is easier? For me to say your sins are forgiven or to take up your bed and walk? Well, the easiest thing is to say your sins are forgiven because nobody can test that. Okay? So Jesus said, take up your bed and walk. Guy gets up and walks out. Evidence that he provided that what he was saying about non-testable things was actually true. So, you read the New Testament, you see both of these. How do we put them together in one coherent package? The God-man.